Hi, I'm Dr. Chris Allen, Superintendent of Schools with Marble Falls ISD, and I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you taking the time to watch this short video in which we're going to give you some additional information that lets you know what our teachers teach and how they know what the right things to teach are, and give you some insight into our curriculum. Truth is, we have experts who deal with this every single day in Marble Falls ISD, and one of those experts is to my immediate right. That would be Leslie Beatty. She's the Executive Director for Elementary Education, and then to my left is Miss Heather Metzger. She's the Executive Director for Secondary Education. We're going to talk about a few topics over the next few minutes, and we hope that as a result of you watching this video, you'll feel a little better informed. Thanks a lot, and get ready because we're going to talk about some fun stuff. So the first question I want to ask is for Miss Metzger. Hello, Heather. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Okay. So we all know that the things our teachers teach are aligned to certain state-developed standards. Can you talk to a little bit about how our teachers know exactly what standards they're supposed to teach and how those standards are developed?
Absolutely. Those standards are referred to as Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills. Commonly, people call them the TEKS. They are developed at the state level with a committee of teachers and other stakeholders that review them, create them, develop them, and then they're adopted by the State Board of Education. Our teachers, actually, well, all teachers across the state, usually are first introduced to those in their professional program, whether that be a traditional university program or an alternative certification program. And then when they come to us at Marble Falls, we make sure and go over those and review those with them at the new teacher orientation, and then they are reviewed weekly in PLCs or professional learning communities.
So that is a great segue for the thing I want to talk to Ms. Beatty about, and that is that once the standards are developed and shared, we all know that school districts need to interpret those standards so they can design and deliver instruction. How do the teachers at Marble Falls ISD go through that interpretation process?
Glad you asked. So once they're developed and they come to the district, we form teacher teams, and those teacher teams do something called a pacing guide. And when they put together the pacing guide, that actually is when teachers would decide how long to teach TEKS and which TEKS and which order that they should go in. And then once they do that and they have a pacing guide that works for the Marble Falls teachers and students, throughout the year, teachers meet in teams on campus called Professional Learning Communities or PLCs, and they talk in their PLC about how are they going to teach those particular TEKS. So they spend time together designing lessons and getting those ready for delivery.
So Heather, in addition to the curriculum that we get from the state, we also have to make decisions about what courses we teach, especially at the secondary level. We can't offer everything that the state makes available to us. So especially in those electives, we have to pick and choose a little. We have a core foundation curriculum that we're required to teach by law, and then we have some electives. How do we decide what content we teach?
Well, we're actually really fortunate here in Marble Falls ISD because we offer a lot of options for students. Those are decided upon in a variety of ways. Some of them we get student feedback. We also have different advisory boards in the community to where they provide feedback. And then some of the feedback is from teachers and by enrollment and things like that. We do every year a job shadowing day with our juniors, and they fill out surveys of types of careers they're interested in. So sometimes that gives us just some perspective about what our kids are looking into, thinking about, and where to go.
And then especially in the CTE department, you have your CTE Advisory Committee. Can you talk a little bit about that and the role they play in this conversation?
Absolutely. A few years ago, one of the added programs of study that we added was our travel and tourism program of study, and that was due to feedback that we got from the CTE Advisory Committee, knowing that our town especially is a big travel and tourist area and that we have some development coming this way. They wanted to provide opportunities for students to learn about that. And we also have Horseshoe Bay right here, and we also have some other resorts and hotels, and so we wanted to make sure we could provide them with future workers and students that are skilled in those areas.
Fantastic, thank you. So Ms. Beatty, let's talk a little bit about instructional materials. So the state tells us what to teach, and our teachers think through how to teach it. but then at some point they have to come up with the materials that our kids actually interact with. Textbooks, sometimes worksheets, sometimes the materials are online. That has to go through a process as well. How do our teachers determine what materials they use when delivering instruction?
Okay, so the state gives us the TEKS, and along with that, when we adopt new TEKS, we also get a list of approved instructional materials that the state says you're allowed to use these particular materials. So what we do is take that list and we have teachers go through all of the sample materials, review all of those things, and have conversation about what would, again, be best for our students in Marble Falls. And while that is going on, we also get links from the state that we put online for parents to give input. So anytime there's a new adoption going on, parents have the opportunity to provide input throughout that process. And so we take the parent input, we take what the teachers want to do, and come up with a decision of what we want to use in Marble Falls. And then we put that in front of our school board, and our school board ultimately votes on which materials that we're going to be using with our kids here.
So those are our formal materials. We also know that in many of our classrooms there are some informal materials. For example, in many of our elementary classrooms and at the secondary, especially in our English classrooms, our teachers have classroom libraries. Talk to us a little bit about how those reading materials make it into the classrooms.
Okay, yeah. So classroom libraries, our teachers know their students and they know the kids a lot, and they go and select books for their particular classroom library that will appeal to students in lots of different genres. They choose lots of different topics, lots of different reading levels, secondary and elementary, they both do that. And ultimately, we trust our teachers to go and select books that kids will want to read, that they put into their libraries for kids to be able to use in their classrooms.
Great. All right, Heather. If a parent wants to know more about instructional materials or be part of the selection process, how can they do that?
So, like Leslie said earlier, if they would like to have some feedback, provide some feedback or input, they can absolutely do that online. They can make an appointment with their teachers and they can review that with their student's classroom teacher or the administrative team on that campus, depending on that child may have multiple teachers or just a couple of teachers if they're secondary or elementary. And they can provide some feedback in that way or online on our website as well during that process.
All right, fantastic. So here's the last question, and I think this is one of the ones that's most interesting to discuss. What is the best way for a parent to know and understand exactly what their student's being taught?
Well, the best way for a parent to know and understand is to be involved with their child, to go through their backpacks, to see what they're doing for their homework, to look at their child's Google Classroom if they are an older elementary student, middle school or high school. And then at the elementary level, we also have Seesaw, and they are able to get on there and to see. We also have many teachers that send out weekly emails, schools that send out newsletters and things like that. But always they can get online and look at the TA website where all the standards for every course are listed. And then if they've got further questions, then the best way is to talk to their child and to talk to the teacher.
Fantastic. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Once again, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I sure hope that we've answered some questions. I'm sure that you may have a question or two that didn't get answered. At the end of the day, if there's anything we can do to help you be an informed parent, please make sure that you call 830-693-4357. We'll be glad to call you back and let you know what's going on. And you can find all of our email addresses on our website, marblefallsisd.org. And we want to be as responsive as we possibly can. Thanks a lot, and you'll have a great day.